Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chris's Chaos. I am your host, Chris Cortez. Today, we are going to cover predictions for Monday Night Raw, which will be held tomorrow, June 7th, 2026, in Accor Arena, Paris, France. And we're definitely going to do a little bit of a recap of Smackdown because what the hell? All right. What the hell, internet? Tell me why Accor Arena. Sorry, I knew I was saying it wrong. What the hell's going on? I mean, I'm looking online for all weekend and to make sure that the card is up to snuff. And sure enough, they throw a curveball. Okay. Let's talk about it. Monday Night Raw, or sorry, SmackDown. Everyone was saying that was going to be the one of the matches, the Fatal Four Way for the men's King of the Ring tournament. Uso versus Knight versus Keys versus Balor. That is not what we got. Okay, they claimed that we were going to see Sol Ruka. All right, Lyra Valkyria versus Flair versus Jade Cargill. We didn't see that, right? All right, so let's break this down. Let's talk about it. What we did get was Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Williams versus Priest, which I had thankfully predicted that either Breaker or Williams was going to win this. But sure enough, the whole internet, IWC, is buzzing about it and freaking out that Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom, won this thing. Now, as much as I love Dirty Dom, this was definitely the wrong choice for the WWE, and they're trying to do things that, again, people are saying this, and I agree. They're trying to be predictable, and in doing so, they are not making any sense. They are destroying any kind of logic that they have going into this whole tournament. This tournament is going straight to hell in a handbasket each and every week. And I think the number one problem, which I obviously have been complaining about it the whole time, is this stupid Fatal Four-Way concept for the first round. And we're going to get into it and talk about it. Okay. I have my predictions. I've double checked. It's looking like the next week, Monday Night Raw upcoming tomorrow night. Seth Rollins versus Javon Evans versus Tala Tonga versus Ricky Saints. That's what they're saying. All right. Let's see if we even get that. I will go over all the remaining Fatal Four-Way matches today in this predictions video, as well as Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. Okay, that's what we're getting. And it's just amazing. So what we got was the Dominic Mysterio winning his Fatal Four-Way match, and Raquel Rodriguez. Okay, Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley versus JC Jane versus Kiana James. Well, I had predicted favored JC Jane to win, and with obviously a strong second would have been Bayley. I would not have predicted Raquel Rodriguez winning this thing, but it's becoming more and more apparent that they're leaning towards this Judgment Day story build between Raquel, between Roxanne Perez, between Liv Morgan, vying for this spot as queen of the true Queen of the Ring, or essentially the Queen of the Judgment Day. This is ridiculous. There's not enough interest for the fans for them to decide, let's make this a centerpiece story building up this tournament. Okay, it is taking the actual tournament and what we want to see, some nice dream matches, putting that in the back seat. It's a big problem. Okay, this is terrible. So let's get into it. But I will make my predictions. I mean, I'm definitely, leaning towards Becky Lynch still, but we'll talk about the possibility of Liv Morgan. As far as the men's match with Rollins, Evans, Tonga, and Saints, still obviously the favorite is Rollins, with a strong second being Javon Evans. And then there's a third who I want to talk about. After watching SmackDown, I have a third scenario, and I think it will become clearer after Monday, after this match. Okay, as if they're trying to pull this crazy, unpredictable scenario with bad booking. It's unpredictably bad booking. Okay, is what it is, and we're gonna get into it. So let's do a little recap here. Okay, start things off. We got. Well, before we do that, please, if you haven't done so, hit that like or subscribe button at Channel Cortez. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. Might even get on TikTok soon. It's a possibility. More than likely in the future. Now let's cut into SmackDown. We have to talk about this. The opening segment, you got Gunther opening the show, tearing off the booth, both announced desk covers, picking up the mic, declaring that nothing would happen until he got justice for what happened at Clash in Italy. Better start to the show than the formulaic crap that they usually push. He was pissed. They got a nice little side shot of him talking about this, complaining. It looked cool. I liked that. Good moment. Talking about how you've been cheated. Cody comes out saying, "Hey man, you're right. Let's do the rematch." I know it's in so many words. That's what he said. Then Sami comes out, Sami Zayn, saying he appreciates Italia. I'm not surprised that he comes to this audience and they're so hyped. I'm almost sad that we're not going to be able to see. We're not going to be able to, see more shows in Italy. This is again taking place in Bologna, Italy, and I'm just really impressed with their engagement. I wasn't surprised that they were going to show some love to Sami. I truly think that he can be, take on the second coming of Bret Hart in this regard. Obviously, he's not going to be Bret Hart, but I mean, like, he can play off audiences where if he goes to certain places, he knows he's going to get the support. He can play the face, and when he's in the majority of arenas that don't like Sami, he can totally be obnoxious and really get some heat. So now, Sami says he's also sick of this same old conversation between Cody and Gunther. You've both done me wrong. Cody responds by saying, "Hey, I'm busy." You need to realize, Sami says you need to realize that the biggest threat may be looking right in your eyes as we speak. Cutting it short, he says, in reference to a previous backstage interview, that you said you were going to teach me a lesson. So, now that you've beaten Gunther, how about when are you gonna go ahead and teach me that lesson you mentioned? They all break into a fight. There's a nice sequence leading up to Cody diving into Sami as a result of Gunther pushing Sami in the direction of Cody's suicide dive. We're gonna get that triple threat. That's where I'm going with this. We're getting a triple threat. Could it be possible? And we'll talk about this. They made the announcement for Cody and Gunther's rematch in 2 weeks from now. But I see a triple threat. Am I okay with it? Yeah, sure. It's going to be a big deal in Saudi Arabia. They love Sami. Could we possibly see Sami steal the title? Absolutely. I'd be totally down with it. Let him hold on to it for a month, maybe drop it in Saturday night's main event back to Cody or even to Gunther. It could go either way between these three. All I know is I do enjoy Sami Zayn very much. Just when you think he's kind of like teetering on the edge of irrelevancy, he comes back stronger than ever. So I'm skipping all my notes here regarding Gunther calling Cody an ass kisser and all that nonsense. I mean, it's the same old shtick, when you're going to be talking about Cody being the golden boy, and how you're being cheated and how you start bringing in lawyers into the mix. It's becoming really formulaic. I really wish they would have had Gunther come out and be cool, walk up on top of that announce, maybe toss the announce table a little bit, break one of them just to show a sign of his strength. Stand up there and say, you know what? I could, complain about how you cheated and how you did all this and that, but you know what? I know it and you know it that I was going to beat you. And it's just a matter of time before I face you again and take your title. And you know it. You've just bought yourself some extra time. That's all you've done. But sooner or later, my promise will be fulfilled. As I said before, that precious prize is coming with me. Okay? And that's it. Still do a little bit of a build, have a discussion about Cody wanting to do the rematch, and still could have had Sami Zayn come in, right? That was great stuff. But really, Gunther's direction, his approach to all this, and his kind of characterization should not be this. It should not be someone who's so upset because he feels like he's been cheated. It should be, it's just a matter of time before your title comes to me. That's it. He's the biggest threat to Cody Rhodes. He should be portraying himself as the biggest threat. Okay. Meanwhile, you have Sami Zayn saying he's the biggest threat, right? And now it's looking more like Sami Zayn is truly Cody Rhodes' biggest threat. So we'll see what happens. Skipping all that. Then we get to this. I'm going to jump right into the match. Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley versus JC Jane and Kiana James. I mean, I saw JC Jane come out to this music. I don't think I had heard it before, but she looked great coming out with her team with Fatal Attraction. The music sounded really good. I really thought like she was going to win this, just based on, the entrance gave me good vibes, like thinking that her performance, though, while decent, was overshadowed by Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel looked the best. They definitely pushed her to look the best with her strength. The match, for the most part, was looking good. I almost liked it more than the match, the Monday before. Okay, the Fatal 4-Way with Io Sky. While even though I will say Io Sky has looked better than anybody so far. But I think all four worked pretty well together. One spot that I thought was really stupid, didn't make much sense, and it didn't look good, was when Julia it was JC Jane who had pulled the foot off. Kiana was trying to make a pin, and I can't remember if it was Bayley. I think it was Bayley or Raquel Rodriguez, obviously. And JC Jane pulls the foot off the rope. Kiana's pissed. She looks over and sees Julia. Okay, and it's like, what the hell? Did you just pull the boot off the rope? And it was so obvious because she looks at Julia, and Julia just struck JC Jane down. She was still fighting for Kiana James. So this was just really stupid. Okay, and it doesn't mean anything to us. And meanwhile, you have Cole and Wade Barrett talking about, this is smart thinking by Kiana James because Julia can enter, the fray anytime and affect this match. Again, so stupid. This is just more of the same crap. This is just another reason why I cannot stand this Fatal 4-Way rule. No disqualification, anything goes. Are you kidding me? It's a tournament. It should be strict rules. We should see good matches. We should see strong matches where there's a determination that two dance partners raise up one, both look good coming out of it, and that's that. But no, we have this, okay, more story-driven and not good story leading the front of a tournament. You get a singles match between Tala Tonga and Royce Keys, okay? At one point, Royce Keys tried to lift Tala Tonga to no avail, okay? Tala Tonga is a big guy, and he can move. He's gained some weight since his New Japan days when he was Hikuleo. And, yeah, I mean, he essentially took out Royce Keys with some help from Solo and Tama Tonga, which makes me wonder if, like, for one, why the hell they have this match? I know they're building up a little bit of trying to get Solo. Solo's trying to recruit Royce Keys. Okay, we see that again in the back stage, but I'm wondering if WWE is trying to push Tala Tonga into the semifinals. That's my guess. I'm wondering if they're trying to do a rematch between these two during the semifinals. Okay, and I'm very curious as to what's going to happen with these two in the tournament. Okay, it could be nothing. It could just be a hunch, but something tells me there is a possibility that they're going to see each other again in the semifinals. We'll talk more about that. Jade Cargill versus Michin. I'm sorry, Jade Cargill and Michin versus Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. This follows the promo with Rhea Ripley talking about her bum knee as a result of the last match with Jade Cargill at Clash in Italy. I'm not getting into all of it, but Charlotte Flair essentially made it very clear to Rhea Ripley. She comes out during the promo and says, while she respects Rhea Ripley, her main goal is to win Queen of the Ring, move on to go on to SummerSlam, face Rhea Ripley for that title. And then Tiffany comes out talking about, I also want to, I want that title. I look good with the United States Championship, but I want that one. Boom. Out comes Jade Cargill, and Michin and JFab or BFAB. You know where this is going. They want, and turns, it's going to be a tag match. And sure enough, Flair says, hey, Tiffany, I know you don't like me, but I know you don't like them even more. Let's do this. Let's fight Jade Cargill and one of her cronies. And so you get Nick Aldis comes out, sets up the match. Michin delivers the Styles Clash. That's one thing I liked seeing it during this match, the tag match. But nothing special. Not going to go into it much. Ricky Saints, Carmelo Hayes. Saints beats Carmelo with the help of grabbing the tights. Whatever. It wasn't even that great. There's no story really. There's nothing like really going on with this. They just wanted to put him on the card. Does this push Ricky Saints to perhaps give him some momentum? Not really. I still don't think he's going to win the tournament or win the qualifying, the Fatal 4-Way match. Get Lash Legend defeating Chelsea Green. It follows some backstage comments between Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton talking about Tiffany Stratton doesn't want to help Chelsea Green. Let her do it on her own. She was not able to do that. Then you get the Fatal 4-Way. Let's fast track this. Fatal 4-Way between Damian Priest, Braun Breaker, Trick Williams, Dominic Mysterio. One spot that I really liked was the clothesline, like Braun Breaker, he clothesline Trick Williams through an announce table. That looked good. Look, one thing that just really, really bothered me about this match was just the amount of interference, which again goes without saying, it was all legal. And it became just the Judgment Day show with this match. Damian and Dominic wins as a result of help from Liv Morgan. I think even JD McDonough got involved. You get him winning and Cole saying, well, wait a minute, Dom, you have to face Obafemi in the next match. I was like, we're all thinking, like how are they going to play this out? Dominic Mysterio is talking about, count your days, Obafemi. Oh, I love it. We'll talk more about what could possibly happen, because sure enough, could we see Brock Lesnar be flown out to Europe only to interfere in this match between Obafemi and Dominic Mysterio? Stranger things have happened. They're flying out Johnny Gargano to Italy to plank on some crate, okay, listening to Sami Zayn complain, air his grievances. This is ridiculous. Are they ever going to do anything with Johnny Gargano? Okay, maybe set up a psychologist's office, right, where he's planking on the doctor's office and people are sitting on the couch airing their grievances to a planking Johnny Gargano. This is so ridiculous, especially considering how good he is in the ring. This is what you're doing with one of your top guys in NXT during a better time, during the Black and Gold. This was your guy, you know what I'm saying? And now this is him planking. For the love of Christ, send him out to AEW. Send him out to TNA. Send him to AAA. Get him out. Get him to do something. This is so stupid. But at the very least, hey, at least he's collecting checks. He's providing for his family. They're going on trips to Italy. So maybe this is all working out. Maybe this is something between him and Triple H where Johnny was like, you know what? Can't really perform right now. And Triple H is like, you know what? I got something for you. You will get paid handsomely to do nothing. Okay? Because sure enough, that's what seems to be going on. Maybe he's helping people in the performance center. Maybe he's doing help in the backstage. Maybe he's producing matches. I don't know. But as far as what he's doing on in front of the camera, it's not much. So We do get another backstage segment with Nick Aldis, Cody Rhodes, talking about he'll defend the title in 2 weeks against Gunther on SmackDown in a stipulation of Gunther's choosing. Nick Aldis and Gunther still have to kind of, talk about the conditions because lawyers are coming into play. This is again, well, we end with the lawyers. Italy, I could tell once they cut out from that segment, Italy seemed a little like, like the air had been taken out of their sails. They didn't seem as happy. They seem a little pissed because they know they're not getting any match like that. Kansas City, the week after gets the match. The week after that just gets the condition, the stipulation. Oh, wow. We're so excited to hear something that could be said on a tweet, right? Something that could have been said tonight, one sentence, all you need to do, right? It's going to be no holds barred. It's going to be this, it's going to be that, whatever. You do get an appearance from Chad Gable, going backstage because Sami Zayn was freaking out over with Nick Aldis. A lot of people bitching. But Sami Zayn was talking to Nick Aldis. Aldis said, look, I do have some things. I have a meeting I'm about to conduct. And sure enough, the camera turns to Chad Gable, who's wearing a suit, looks good. He looks, they know now he's a heavy hitter. Apparently, Michael Cole made some reference to that. Look, so clearly they want to bring him into SmackDown. I think the same thing's going to happen on Raw, where Adam Pearce is going to, also have another meeting with Chad Gable, and I think he is going to go to Raw. He's going to have a match with Penta. That's going to happen. That's the right choice. I mean, Penta's primed to lose the title at SummerSlam. Chad Gable is primed to win a mid-card title in Minnesota at SummerSlam. This is a no-brainer. Okay, so if it's not him facing Penta, it's not going to make sense. I mean, it could likely happen. It could happen also he faces Trick Williams, but again, that's less likely or less logical than facing Penta. At one point, you get War Raiders confronting R-Truth, telling him they were coming for the WWE tag titles. Nobody cares. I'm happy to see the War Raiders. I'm happy to see that they have some kind of something going for them with those AAA titles, but just keep them in AAA. Maybe use them in promos. Promoting AAA. That's all we need, or just have some surprise matches. I don't even need to see this. And of course, The Miz. Discovered Danhausen stealing electricity for his experience, ends up getting electrocuted. I don't even want to talk about it. Danhausen eats some hoagie, some Italian hoagie. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is like Nickelodeon stuff. I love that Danhausen's breaking waves, and he's making appearances all over ESPN and with Stephen A. Smith. He's definitely becoming bigger than WWE, and he'll be able to do things outside of the WWE for years to come. Love it. Fatal Influence attacks Brie Bella and Paige backstage following JC Jane's elimination from the Queen of the Ring tournament. So that's what they're going. That's what Fatal Attracts is clearly going to be going after, is what it looks like, tag titles. What else can they do? What else should they have done, except for maybe JC Jane going on to a semifinals, then losing to Io Sky, and then we could have seen a segment like this. Give JC Jane a little bit more build, more development, but no. So they're going straight for the tag titles. And of course, the Solo Sikoa, coming up to get Royce Keys. Keys was a little bit frustrated already, a little bit hostile. He had already been beaten down by the FTR, RF. I don't even know how to pronounce their names sometimes. I forget their names. RFTs, FTRs, whatever. The second bloodline, basically. Okay. So bad when I forget the name of the faction. That's how bad it is. Look, here's what's going down. Solo says that he's going to war. He basically needs a soldier. He needs a Royce Keys. He's already, and I do appreciate they're planting seeds for something down the road, like maybe War Games between Bloodline and Solo's faction is what I'm just going to call them. The fact is, I honestly, this is not engaged. This is not entertaining, and this is not anything that anybody really cares about. But if you build up a team, okay, with Solo and Talatanga and Tama Tonga, and then even Royce Keys, bring them on in, and you gear up this moment where Solo's looking like he's going to fight the Bloodline, and Bloodline's like, look, you need to fall in line. Roman's like, you need to fall in line, acknowledge your tribal chief. Then we would see something happen. We see Tama Tonga, and Royce Keys just beat the holy hell out of Solo Sikoa. And on top of it, out of nowhere comes in Tonga Loa. I'm still pushing this. I don't care what anybody says. I won't stop because it's what most fans that even know these guys even want to see. And it would totally make things interesting. If you bring back Tonga Loa, you light a fire up the ass of Tama Tonga, and you see this powerhouse of a team, and just name them the Guerrillas of Destiny, and that's it. Bring in the damn music and let's make it happen. You want to talk about some lawyers? Let's get some lawyers to get sign some deals to get the rights to that music and bring it into the WWE. It's that simple, okay? It's that simple, all right? And then we'll see a real War Games. Solo Sikoa will be completely out of the picture. He'll come back maybe after the fact, or maybe he'll come out during that War Games and have play a key role in helping the Bloodline win or something, and then fall in line with Roman Reigns back with the team. And that would be great. You would have a team. You'd have a 5-man team. Then maybe bring in JC Mateo. And then you have a real Bloodline civil war, okay? A real Bloodline war. It's not even just a civil war. It's a big Samoan dynasty battle, So that was the recap for SmackDown, okay? We're gonna go ahead and do the predictions. Before we do that, once again, hit that like or subscribe button at Channel Cortez 33, and you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram. This predictions for SmackDown. Let's talk about. We've talked about, for Monday Night Raw. We've talked about the recap for SmackDown, and now that we have reached, we've seen the second matches for the Fatal 4-Ways of round one. Okay. Oh man, it's just amazing with how they kind of throw us that curveball. Gonna see Rollins versus Javon Evans versus Tall Tonga versus Ricky Saints. And now, yes, the favorite to win would be Seth Rollins. I do see a possibility of Javon Evans. Like I mentioned during the recap, Tall Tonga, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I would be somewhat surprised, and I'd be like, wow, they went that direction. And here's why. Because I'm also thinking, I'm wondering, how the hell is, if let's say they don't fly in Brock Lesnar to get involved, and it's just Dominic Mysterio versus Obafemi, and we see what makes the most sense if there was not much, interference. Even if the Judgment Day was to interfere in this match, I think Obafemi could power all of them, just totally dominate and take out Dominic Mysterio, and that's it. And that's what we'd expect. He's that kind of character. He's kind of, we practically chant his name like Bill Goldberg, like Goldberg. It's like, so yeah, that would make sense, and we'd be like, all right, and people would be happy. A lot of people would be happy that they just, went full on, Obafemi into the finals. That'd be great. But then you got to ask yourself, like, who would make the most sense to even face this guy? Okay. And while, yes, Rollins, it would work. Okay. Even Javon Evans, I think, could work a hell of a match with Obafemi. I think he could have a good match with anybody. It's the story really that, you want to make sure that Oba's still kind of looking like he's climbing a mountain, right? That's what it makes sense to me. So, like, while, yes, it would be a challenge to face a Seth Rollins or even a Javon Evans, the Tall Tonga would be that final mountain step, that final level of the mountain to climb. You know what I'm saying? It would also make sense for him to face a Royce Keys and it be like, okay, so this is a, powerhouse, another powerhouse, wrestler that I have to kind of overcome. I'm still not quite the Goliath in all this, right? You want to keep him like at least somewhat of an underdog, right? I mean, I know this is kind of hard to put Obafemi as an underdog, but if you put him up against Rollins is definitely the underdog. Javon Evans, definitely the underdog, okay? Tall Tonga, not so much, that kind of puts Oba at the underdog in terms of size and strength. Maybe not speed, obviously, and ability, but Obafemi, I could see a good match between those two, and it would push a newcomer, right? It would give Tonga some credibility, okay, as the powerhouse of the of Solo's faction. I want to say it's FTR's, but I can't. This is how little I care about the faction name. It's the worst. Anyways, that's where I'm going. So, and if Tala Tonga wins, I'm even more. Again, I'm now going to point out on the bottom bracket between Uso, Knight, Keys, and Balor. Then I'm also thinking that Keys actually has a shot at making it to the semifinals, right? Still thinking, I've already made this, I'll say it again, I'll say it a couple times, that Knight is the favorite to win his bracket, but Balor definitely has a chance. And if Javon Evans wins his match, man, I want to see Balor win so bad. I'm just going to be pushing for it because Balor versus Javon Evans would make a lot of sense. Also, if Mysterio, now let's talk about the flip side of things. If Mysterio wins, okay, then you got a whole number of options, okay? Number one, you could put in a Javon Evans, right? And he could, succeed and then maybe take on Cody Rhodes. That would be a great match, or whoever wins, maybe Gunther, or whatever, or a Rollins. That would make a lot of sense too. But really, you could see a rematch from WrestleMania on the bottoms of the bracket. You look at Balor. He's right there. He wins, and he moves on to face Dominic Mysterio. He wins, takes on Roman Reigns, and we get a nice match at SummerSlam. Obviously, Reigns would probably win, but I mean, it's still up in the air. That part of the unpredictable parts I appreciate because we really don't know what's going to happen after King and Queen of the Ring in terms of who's facing who. Now it's become apparent that whoever wins King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring, they could choose which world title they want to face, which I really hope if Io Sky wins and I want her to win, she just goes ahead and shoots for Rhea Ripley. Says, I want the WWE Women's title. That would be awesome. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But LA Knight, he's also a great still a favorite because if he wins, takes on Dominic Mysterio in the finals, that would make sense for him to win and then have, again, another good contender against Roman Reigns. I want to see someone new, and Knight or Balor would be a great pick. I honestly want to save Rollins and Reigns. I think that should just go on into WrestleMania, but there's still talks about The Rock coming into play. But Rollins, yeah, you could do Rollins and Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. It's not going to be a big surprise. Makes sense, but of course, want to see something new, right? Mysterio could win the whole thing, go on and face either one, Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns. It wouldn't make sense. I mean, Reigns is he's too OP right now. For Mysterio to walk up to Roman Reigns and act like he's the shit and be like, yeah, I'm going to take your title. Reigns would look and be like, this is a joke. And that would be the whole build this is a joke. We're going to see Dominic Mysterio win the World Heavyweight Championship? No. Maybe it would work with Cody Rhodes, okay? I'd be more interested in it. I definitely could see something happen where Mysterio is going to be the WWE or World Heavyweight Champion one day. To make no mistake about that, okay? It's going to happen. He's already the mega AAA champion, and I do think that El Único Grande Americano is going to take the title off of Mysterio during Triple Mania. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're going with it. Rollins is obviously your favorite, but still, Evans or Tonga, wouldn't be surprised. So it's still up in the air. Let's look at the Queen of the Ring match. Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. Now that we are seeing what's going on with Raquel Rodriguez, right? Winning her match. Will Liv Morgan win as well? And we'll see this whole thing turn into one big Judgment Day playground. It's ridiculous. I could see Liv Morgan winning. Yeah, that's sad. I mean, honestly, just a few days ago, it was between Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss. And again, now see, they're trying to make things a little more unpredictable, but with no logic. And that is what these fatal four-way matches are doing. They're destroying the sensibility of this whole thing. Becky Lynch, I think, is still the favorite, you know? Just like I think Charlotte Flair on the bottom of the bracket is the favorite. I still think that Charlotte Flair is the most likely candidate to win this whole thing. And that being said, Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair, do we need to see that? No. We need to see the story build in the backstage, with one of these two losing and then people complaining. Just like with Liv Morgan, she does not need to win this. Okay, we do not need to see Raquel Rodriguez versus Liv Morgan in the finals. We don't need to see it. I mean, stories can build themselves backstage or in promos or during tag matches just by putting them into this tournament and seeing who wins and who loses. One gets jealous of the other. Same thing can happen, build tension that way. Okay. Not by destroying the whole tournament, which is supposed to be about who's the best. And that's it. And no damn interference. Hopefully in the semifinals that just kind of just gets taken out of it. And and it's sad because we were all thinking that Lesnar's going to interfere in a match. We thought Braun Breaker is going to interfere in a match, or Rollins is going to interfere in the match. I'm sick of it. This whole tournament should not be about interferences. It should just be about fair and square who is the best. That's it. So still going with Becky Lynch. Want to see Becky Lynch and Charlotte? Let's talk about it. Just want to look at this again. Because I have to talk about the other Fatal 4-Way with Ruka, Valkyria, Flair, and Cargill. I, again, don't think Cargill's going to win. I'm still very much supporting Flair. Could Jade, as the defending queen of the ring, at least make it through the Fatal 4-Way? Sure. But I think Charlotte is due for this. Hey, they might they might do something really stupid and put in the IC champ, Sol Ruka. Make no sense whatsoever. I think Ruka and Valkyria are going to cancel each other out. Okay. Maybe even perhaps one of them is going to take the pin. I think Valkyria might be the one to take the pin. Yeah, we can talk about it. I think Valkyria will be the one to make the most sense for her to take the pin from Flair, or even Cargill. If whoever it was to win would be either Cargill or Flair, and Valkyria would take the pin. Otherwise, Ruka looks bad, right? Chelsea Green. She already took a pin. It would make sense for her to take another one, or Bliss, right? Bliss and Green. In fact, I could see Bliss take that loss, take that pin, because it would make her much more pissed off at Charlotte for making it past the Fatal 4-Way. So I'm looking back at the Evans or Saints. Definitely one of them is going to take the L. And Uso could be pinned by LA Knight, following on SmackDown, because that would also build some more tension. They already have tension, so that would make sense. Of the three, I could see Uso. Out of the four, I could see Uso being the one to take the L. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about what else is headed for this Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. It's looking like there's going to be an Intercontinental Championship match between Penta and Rey Mysterio. After Mysterio earned that title shot by defeating Rusev on May 25th, right? That episode. Yeah, I don't see Rey Mysterio winning. I see Penta just retaining the title. And again, this could lead to a backstage segment, right? Collision between Chad Gable and Penta. Be a great segue after he is congratulated for his win against Rey Mysterio, or even before the match. You could see somebody like Chad Gable giving props to Rey Mysterio. This is going to build the story, because Chad Gable's going to be, I guarantee you, Chad Gable's going to be in Paris. He's going to make an appearance. He's going to approach one of these two wrestlers, or both. He's going to be talking to Adam Pearce about joining the Raw roster. It's going to happen. So get ready for that. So I'm wondering if Jacob, what's next in store for Jacob Fatu, if he's going to be involved. We'll see if he's going to come out, do anything. Maybe there'll be a segment with him and Royce Keys. Maybe something, a little bit of push and shove between him and Talatanga, right? And yeah, Obafemi, he's won. He's already passed the Fatal 4-Way, but he still might make an appearance, and yeah, might even drop Brock Lesnar one more time. His name. There's a little bit of something between Seth Rollins and Montez Ford. Still kind of brewing. We could see something go on between them either backstage. Would love to see them, have another match, like more between them. They put on a great show together. Seth Rollins and Montez Ford. Would love to see a match in Paris anytime. I can't remember if they already had a match recently. Might have been last week. I can't even remember these Raws like that. But yeah. So there go your predictions for Monday Night Raw. I'll definitely watch the show on Tuesday, because it'll be way too late for me to watch Monday Night Raw. But yeah, if they decide to do a Fatal 4-Way that isn't being announced, I'm gonna be a little peeved, but whatever. It is what it is. That's why I gave my predictions. One more thing I want to stress about it is that this last Fatal 4-Way match, these last set of Fatal 4-Way matches, which will take place on the following SmackDown, they will be. I've always said this. They're always built on each other and at least that's one thing I can somewhat believe in, is that whoever wins these third Fatal 4-Way matches, the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring, it will give me that much more insight as to who's going to win the fourth match. So, there we go. It's been great, guys. You all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great start to your week. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. And please remember to click that like or subscribe button at Channel Cortez 33, Twitter, X, Instagram, whatever. Y'all have a good night.